Ladies and gentlemen, let's pick up a phone call here. Here we go. I don't see it. Here we go. Calling from a 646 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hello, Sam. Is this me?
Yeah. 646?
Hi, this is Train Boy from New York. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. What's on your mind?
Well, I just thought I'd call in and share a story about how I harassed Laura Loomer when she decided to handcuff herself to the New York City Twitter headquarters door last night.
So for those people who don't know, Laura Loomer, she is the, how would you describe her? The right-wing provocateur who got bumped from Twitter, and she has made it, it is almost like a human rights violation from her perspective that her human rights were violated when she got bumped from Twitter. Is that an accurate assessment of her?
She's pretty much indistinguishable from Tommy Lauren, except for the fact that she's Laura Loomer is a brunette, and apparently she's Jewish.
Okay,
so she's a Jewish Nazi.
Oh, she's also much less successful than Tommy Lauren.
Well,
She's
I
an
wouldn't call
outsider.
either of them successful.
Loomer's an outsider. Tommy's on the inside.
Okay, so with that said, let's hear.
I got an analogy. Sorry, Loomer is sort of like to Tommy Lauren what James O'Keefe is to Ben Shapiro.
Okay, so there we go. So you saw Laura Loomer, and we will play video of this soon. But she handcuffed herself to the Twitter entrance in New York City, and you did what?
So the Twitter office in New York is about 5-10 minutes from my office, and I had a bit of downtime, so I decided to go there and see how she was holding up. And while I was there, I told her to go on Cumtown.
Oh, that was you. Wow, that shit went somewhat viral because I saw that.
Laura Loomer rolls. She's like, are there any Nazis that want to date a highly disturbed Jewish girl? Please. I'm Jewish. I have severe emotional and psychic issues, and I just want a skinhead.
Now look.
Why won't anyone help me?
And what did she say? She say she'd think about it? She hand out was her PR person there or what?
Well, she was too busy complaining about Louis Farrakhan, who is apparently relevant.
Louis Farrakhan, of course, is the CEO of Twitter.
Yeah.
And
may I add to this? When I called Jews bloodsuckers, I didn't do it on the Twitter platform. It's called terms of service.
All right, well, I appreciate the update. We're going to play some video of her now.
And one more thing before you let me go.
Yeah.
I took the liberty of buying the domain name cederforsenate.com.
Ooh.
Let's check out.
All right. Well, we know
Battle of the Cucks.
We know where to go for that. We'll see. All right. I'm not ruling it out these days. I mean,
I think after I
really
give
depends
Joe
on-
Manchin the deed to my house, I will have seen off any potential challenge from a progressive.
I mean, if nobody ran against him,
Somebody needs to run against him.
Yeah.
Seriously,
we're
somebody needs
we're gonna rent out, sublet the office, and we're all going in a camper van and do this, the listening tour across New York State. All right, so let's get down to brass tacks, ladies and gentlemen. Laura Loomer, who was last seen, where was she last seen? She was last seen shoving Alex Jones out of the way so that she could talk to Jack Dorsey after he had testified in front of Congress. Jack Dorsey did not get involved in a conversation with her. Laura Loomer, the right-wing provocateur, or almost would-be provocateur, some who have rumored to have been a paramour of Mike Cernovich.
Ew.
I can't. Those
Nathan Bernard's still looking into that.
He's still looking into that. Okay. And
He has
but in
health
the meantime,
supplements. It's so sexy.
in the meantime, she handcuffed herself to the Twitter headquarters. Let's play the video. Where's it start?
This is just right when she's handcuffing herself. And we'll
Okay,
play.
so she handcuffed herself. I'll tell you the thing that I find sort of offensive here, and I will say that around the time of Pittsburgh, people started wearing. I saw some people in Brooklyn wearing the yellow star. That was the star that the Nazis made the Jews wear to identify them as a way of reappropriating it. Laura Loomer has. Here, go to the beginning of this video so we can watch how it starts. Is this how it starts? Oh, this is not. Oh, I see. Okay. And she's wearing a yellow star on her outfit. And at first when I saw this, I was like, you got to be effing kidding me. And then I thought about it for a while and I was like, you got to be effing kidding me. To equate yourself having been kicked off of Twitter to Jews who were ultimately taken to death camps seems to me to lack a certain perspective. Now, it's possible that there's something deeply, deeply wrong with Laura Loomer, which means that those people who are enabling her are really responsible for this. But on the off chance that there is not something deeply clinically wrong with her and she's just an incredible narcissist, we're going to play this video and then mock it. Here she is. She has handcuffed herself, and here's a couple of moments of that.
Laura, why didn't you handcuff yourself to both doors?
Why did I handcuff myself to both?
Why
Pause
didn't
it.
you?
So if you're just listening, we'll go back a little bit. If you're just listening, it is a two-door, there's two doors. And there's handles on both doors. And she only handcuffed herself onto one door. So she's not actually preventing anybody from going in or out. It's just as if it's almost like people who are looking for a quarter and they open up the bank, like the bank ATM door for you. She's there and trying to hand out a piece of paper with a yellow Jewish star sewn onto her outfit. All right, continue.
Laura, why didn't you handcuff yourself to both doors?
Whoop.
Why did I handcuff myself to both?
Why didn't you? They're still getting in and out.
Well, I'm not trying to trap them inside the building. It's a fire hazard. That's a fire hazard, of course. But the issue here is that Jack Dorsey thinks that by banning me as a Jewish conservative woman from pointing out Jew hatred, I was defending women, I was defending gay people, I was defending Jewish people from bigotry and from hatred, from homophobia, from anti-Semitism, and I got banned.
Do we have an example of maybe some of that wonderful humanitarian defense that Laura Loomer has blessed us with on Twitter back in the day? Here's one. Stefan Molyneux writes, over 2,000 migrants have died crossing the Mediterranean so far this year. Presumably these are ones that are coming from Syria, maybe. I don't know when this was. This tweet was from, and she wrote, good, period, clap, clap, clap. Here's to 2,000 more. I guess with the hopes that none of those migrants were
Muslim.
Muslim, or none of them were women because she's so protective of women.
Oh, right.
Et cetera, et cetera. What else do we have? Other examples of Laura Loomer spreading her goodness on Twitter. Yeah, this is a nice one. She wrote, Muslims are in full force at the scene of the New York City ISIS attack today, rubbing it in everyone's face, aimlessly walking around in hijabs. There was two women who were wearing Muslim headgear who were just probably on the way to work or somewhere else.
They were walking.
Laura Loomer at one point was banned from Uber and Lyft after a tweet storm back in about a year ago now about anti-Muslim tweets that she was pushing. She wrote, "Someone needs to create a non-Islamic form of Uber or Lyft because I never want to support another Islamic immigrant driver."
Jesus.
I mean, come on. Now,
Real warm fuzzy there.
now
This is exactly what they were struggling against in Nazi Germany.
yes, and of course, it is because of her clear, her Jewishness that comes through in this. That is why she was banned. from
Ban
Twitter.
Muslims date Nazis.
There you go.
It's a third way for Judaism.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Did
This
she go
might be
home?
like
Did she get
punching-
tired and go home?
So what happened? I mean,
Or did she
was.
pee her pants as she had promised?
Is that what was going to happen? She was going to pee.
Well,
her
Tim
pants?
Pool, a dubious reporter, Tim Pool, had reported that she was ready to defecate and urinate while handcuffed, but I
Ew.
don't know if it ever came to that.
Gross.
But the first thing I heard Laura Loomer was
I remember.
I can't remember if this was like Charleston or some sort of white nationalisty protest. And she said, "Someone just slashed my tire. I'm honestly speechless." 1 week after someone doxed me, and it was clearly just tire rot.
Right. It was pointed out that her tire, which have almost no treads, broke. Not a slash.
Apparently, if you guys want it, this is also another instance of a fascist all of a sudden realizing that because these platforms have so much power over our lives, and because, in fact, in the long term, this could, it poses an immediate concern to them because they get kicked off of the platform for being disgusting, and all of a sudden we need to nationalize it so that free speech is protected. Apparently, Laura Loomer, I sent you the sound if you want it, said just that the other day, too, amidst her rants.
You know, it's interesting. The deplatforming now, Laura Loomer, I don't know, was that big of a pundit in any way. She's definitely trying to build her brand. But it is interesting to note now with some time the implications of deplatforming some of these people. Alex Jones is not, he may be doing the same sort of toxicity, but he is not part of the national conversation in the way that he used to be. Does anybody remember Baked Alaska? Right? These are figures who were toxic figures in our society. They have been deplatformed on these commercial platforms, and it's very hard to say. Now, I tend to agree that their social media has become ubiquitous enough that we need to take steps to change the dynamic. I don't know if that is we nationalize Google, we nationalize things like Facebook, or if we as a government say, okay, we're going to now break you up like we did the telephone companies back in the day, and we're going to offer the opportunity for people to have real competition here. I'm not sure, frankly, I haven't contemplated either solution as being the more optimal or desired, but something clearly needs to be done because of the process. Now, with that said, the value of deplatforming, I think, is pretty clear.
Yep.
Well, here's what I think.
Ask Milo.
I think here's what I think. I do think in the long term, and I do support nationalization, that these are so ubiquitous and such a major part of how we communicate that fundamentally I want to absorb them under those First Amendment protections for everybody. But in the short term, until that happens, cool. Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's not the scenario right now. So if there's a benefit from eliminating some toxicity in the world we're in, which points to potentially bigger problems, because on the flip side, I think, Facebook having the Atlantic Council monitor their, some of their content is absolutely implicating legitimate outlets that cover Latin America, as an example. So there's big problems there. But if you're going to deplatform, I like these choices.
Yeah.
Certainly. I'm not going to shed any tears over Nazis being deplatformed from social media platforms. And whatever is going to happen, like, people make the argument that, if they can if they can do it to the right, then they can do it to the left.
They can.
Whatever is going to happen to the left is going to happen to the left, independently of what happens to the right. So we got to use all the tools in our toolbox.
And my point, I just want to be clear on what my point is that there's some question as to whether or not deplatforming works. So putting aside the question of whether it's desirable for just a moment, it clearly works. Right? Like the idea of like, because I've heard people in the past who say when you deplatform people,
Makes them a martyr.
it makes them a martyr and they become a bigger. But it clearly works. Now that may be because of the problem that we have with the size of these platforms.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. But I'm just saying, I'm just addressing that narrow question that we all have. We now have the time to assess whether deplatforming works or hurts if you are trying to fight back or if you are, hoping for a certain voice to be diminished. And it clearly works.
I also, on a tangent point, imagine being so demented that in a world of like Nelson Mandela and Lula, people like that you call Laura Loomer a martyr.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
I just want to just shout out myself. Back in December 2016, I said, this is before the book was canceled. I said, I think it'd be hilarious if Milo's book was canceled, and am unafraid of him becoming a martyr as he is largely talentless.
There you go.
I'm very good at predictions.
Yes, Matt Leck ahead
Called
of
it.
the game.
You heard it here
Another
first,
modicum achievements. Prediction tweet modicum for Matt Leck. But here's the bottom line, Ski. Laura Loomer is Jewish.
There's actually an interesting article in Jacobin by Benjamin F.Y. Fong right now called Log Off that sort of wrestles with the idea of whether social media is even a good idea at all in the first place and whether it should be like nationalized and put under democratic control as we move to a more socialist society, or whether we should all just decide for the good of society to get rid of it.
That seems unlikely to me. I don't know who all, but
It would need to be like statutory, but I think if
Worth
like
exploring as
if
an
a
idea.
if a law got passed like today that was like Facebook just can't exist. We're like no breaking up of it. You're just done. This just not existing anymore. I think that everybody would get over it and actually feel pretty happy in like 2 weeks.
Oh,
Life
absolutely.
would, if you wanted to narrow it to one platform, world better off without, Facebook would be the easiest, pure net positive.
Yeah. Yep.